Hi, everybody. It's January 27th, 2026. A lot of us feel like we don't know ourselves as well as we would like to, or we don't catch the little nuances that other people claim they see in us, and we think we are missing something about knowing ourselves. And I've learned that through the years, like some of the most, you know, provocative experiences that I kind of had some sort of control over is listening through other people's ears. Not necessarily only listening to yourself, but if you're around somebody and you guys are sharing the same space and the same social scene or whatever situation it is, if you try to listen through their ears at the current situation or conversation, you sort of pick up on things that you glance over and forget about by yourself. And when you listen through other people's ears, the weirdest thing could happen is when you start to care for yourself. You start to hear yourself through somebody else's ears. They may not be super compassionate to you at the moment. They may not be gushing over you at the moment, but if you listen to yourself sometimes talking through the ears proverbially, you kind of get a sense of how you are viewed by yourself in a separation of viewpoint. And so you have compassion on yourself, you have understanding and patience with yourself. And it goes for listening through somebody's ears to somebody else, referring or observing somebody else. When you listen to somebody's ears, you could tell that their influence over you. You could tell that their influence over you is not particular to you. You could tell that they're special, that other people see what you see in them. And sometimes when you listen to yourself, you can see that you can see why other people like you and why they gravitate towards you. So listening through somebody else's ears is a great way to shift from the mundane, the loneliness, and the isolation. So this gets me to thinking about the war in a withered heart. The first thing that I could say is that when you feel like you're constantly battling and constantly at war, what can happen with the withered heart is that you are so quick and ready to pick up the gun or the sword in moments that don't call for it because you have been fighting for so long. And the initial fight was honorable. It was necessary. You needed to fight to protect yourself, to protect the ones you love, to create a life that you wanted to live. But the withering of the heart happens when the fight itself has taken over. It's taken over your consciousness. It's taken over your attention. And so what you were fighting for is not what you are fighting for now. You might be fighting just for the sake of fighting. And what this does, it withers your heart towards people who are coming at you tentatively. They're trying to assess you. They're trying to become a part of your life. And if you are in battle mode, your heart may not be as welcoming to them. And the best remedy for this is just to remember the purpose of the fight. Remember why you started fighting in the first place. Not the glory of being strong, the glory of being a hardened warrior. It's the glory of what you wanted to accomplish, where you wanted to bring your life in the first place. And so the second issue with the war in the withered heart is how we deal with loneliness. Because usually if you're in a very tough war, you probably feel that you're in it alone, and the isolation can cut you off from what I feel is the humanistic need for communication, the humanistic need for touch. So once you are cut off and you have become chronically isolated, the war still rages on, but you have cut off about 80% of your recovery source because recovery resource because you you have lost the need, or you have lost the desire to be in a community in this world. And I know that seems cringe, like the word community sometimes could seem cringe and kind of overbearing and kind of in your face, but any community, whether small or large, we all need some sort of community to experience different viewpoints, to get a more rounded sense of life. And community doesn't necessarily need to be available 100% of the time, but to touch upon a community when you need it, when it's pertinent, is very vital. So when you are at war and you have cut yourself off due to chronic isolation, you're kind of kneecapping yourself and going back to the fight because you have no you cut off 80% of your recharge ability. So to do this is just, you don't need to cling to anybody. You don't need to chase anybody, but just a gentle touch, a gentle conversation here and now to remind you that you are human, that you are a soul in this world, is very beneficial. And the last thing I can say about the war and the withered heart is do your best not to pass on the blood you shed on the battlefield to anybody else. Don't pass it on to the elderly. Don't pass it off to your peers. Don't pass it off to the children in your life. Protect people from the ugliness that you see. And I'm not saying that you have to bear the weight of the ugliness that you have gone through on your own, but for unnecessary reasons, do not dump off on anybody else in anger and impatience and lack of responsibility. Because when you deal with your own wounds, when you deal with the own sights that you saw that caused you trouble, you grow, and you grow in depth, and you grow in wisdom, you grow in patience, and you grow in love. But when you dump off and you expose people to the ugliness that you have seen coming through you, and being that source of volatility in their life, and not the safe space in their life, it's kind of a minor atrocity, you know. I'm not saying that you have to bear everything by yourself. There's people that you could talk to deal with, you know, like a therapist or a parent or somebody who's willing and able to process with you what you have seen and gone through. But just carelessly flinging around your I guess you could say your characteristically dark and blackened thoughts, and just throwing them around and letting it cause anxiety and disruption for no reason is going to hurt you in the end, because you're going to feel guilty. And some people run away from the guilt when it is that large and that ugly. So I hope this helps. Thanks.